How you doing? Welcome back to another episode of the Art of Making Things Happen, the podcast with me, your host, Steve Sims, and I'm going to have a chat today with Drew Plotkin of Derm Dude. This guy can name drop. He's been the founder of a very large commercial agency in the fashion and the skinwear, heavily tattooed, got a life story on him, but actually came up with the concept of Derm Dude. This is skin products for men. And the marketing's pretty cool. Let's just say it is raw, it is unapologetic, and he openly says they're unapologetic. But in a world where everyone's trying to be inappropriate and toe the line, they're not vulgar, they're not rude, but they are cheeky and they do make you smile. Listen to it from a marketing standpoint and a branding standpoint. Listen to it from how he's actually changed course in doing what he wants to do and how he shows up. And if you can't get anything out of this, just get the simple fact, show up. And that's where you get your biggest magic. Listen to Drew. It's very comical, very entertaining, and you're going to enjoy it. So have fun with Derm Dude himself, Drew. Hey, Drew, welcome to the show.
Steve, what's happening, buddy?
Now, for anyone that's watching this, you already know what I'm going to say, but for anyone that's listening to this, I'm talking to this cool cat, tattoos, 50 years old, sure shit, got a few stories. And if you look him up, then the name drop just goes on. It's Jennifer Lopez, Serena Williams, Cindy Crawford. The list goes on for absolutely ever. He's also I love this, the CDO, the Chief Dude Officer of Derm Dude, an unapologetic men's brand. There's a lot of character in you. But before we get into that, where were you born? Where did you grow up? And when did you realize you wanted to be different?
I was born in the great nation of New Jersey. And, I don't know that I ever decided that I wanted to be different. I think I always felt I was different. It's probably kind of common when you're younger. Maybe you can feel a little lost or, not comfortable in your skin or whatever. But for me, I just never lost that feeling of being different. It wasn't like a choice. I didn't say, I'm going to be different today. It just, I kind of realized over time that that's just how it was.
Yeah, that's usually why you realized you didn't fit in. So you're very creative. Everything about you, the thread, even though on one side you've got a book that we're going to be talking about, you've got Derm Dude, you've got your commercials. The commonality between all of those is your creative edge. What was the first thing that happened to you that made you go, hey, I like to create. I don't want to follow. I want to create.
Well, I think the thing that most of my career has in common is I've never, for the most part, had to have a real job as an adult. Now, I've worked my ass off, probably a lot more hours than had I had a normal 9-to-5 job. But I don't think that I ever saw myself fitting into a structure of somebody saying, now you go here, now you come here, now you sit there. And I'm saying this with some of my most amazing team members and employees. Many have been with me for years around me in the production studio. I'm saying it like it's a bad thing, like it's a good thing. You really want that, guys, stay. But but for me, it just didn't fit. I don't know. It's funny. I'm probably in a week or so taking, my first real vacation in a couple of years. But yet I'd rather know that even though I don't really have the time because of everything I have going on and the businesses and everything, I'd rather know that when I do take that week off, that it's entirely up to me. But again, at the end of the day, if I had a job, I probably would take a lot more than one vacation in several years.
Now, it's easy to kind of like try and join the dots afterwards, but you had a very successful, in fact, I don't know if you're still part of it, DRTV agency. Are you still part of that? Because you were one of the founders of it, weren't you?
Yeah, we have an agency. It still exists, Launch DRTV. Okay. And I would say for 15 plus years, we were doing, it'd be pretty impossible to watch TV and see commercials in the skincare, beauty, healthcare, fitness world and not see some or many of our commercials. So they were very well-known brands, very successful products. We also did commercials for companies like T-Mobile and, Jockey and, household names. But everything that we did, had a very big presence about it, the marketing, the messaging, initially all TV, then TV and digital. And then, as TV really started to go in a different direction, tons of digital content before starting Derm Dude.
And that was it. We've got to where my question really lies, and you walked into it nicely, Drew. You've gone from using the parameters and the acceptability of what you can use on TV at what times and how, and within the restraints of the landscapes, etc., and the celebrities and the contracts. You've gone from this very creative but with parameter into Derm Dude. So you've just gone freewheeling now.
That's what I write about in the book, and really, part of how Derm Dude came to be. It really, yes, everything starts with a product or a service, if you really narrow it down to the simplicity, but brands aren't that simple. Apple did not start with a computer. There was so much more in the foundation that was in the building infrastructure from day one, the vision. With Derm Dude, a big driving factor was that I had been in celebrity skincare for 15, 20 years in Hollywood. And, the research we did, and top line was probably above 1.5 billion in sales for all of our brands and clients over the years. And, we had a lot of clients and brands, but we did well. They did well. We sold a lot of products. And one of our niches was skincare, personal care, beauty, mostly for women. So I spent years working with dermatologists and labs and product development teams, as well as being on the side of developing the marketing, the commercials, directing the commercials. So I saw all sides of it. And, I really wanted to develop my own product, my own brand. Really, I wanted a brand, not necessarily even a product, because a brand is such a larger, broader, encompassing entity. And it was almost painful, I say, because for years, over a decade, people would say, man, you guys are so good at this. You're killing it here. You're killing it there. Why don't you do something of your own? Why don't you do something on your own? And it really was like starting to eat me up inside, because I didn't know what that was. I knew there was something there, but I didn't know what it was. And, I'd sold hundreds of millions of dollars in blenders, popular blenders for big brands. I didn't want to do another blender. I didn't want to do toasters. I didn't want to do women's skincare. I'd done it for 15 years. It was a good experience doing it, and then, probably just a couple of years ago, I was on a trip to Bali. I'll make a long story short, to do a tattoo with a artist. It's kind of a pretty crazy dude and an amazing artist, and did a 2-day tattoo session in Bali on my chest. And right after that tattoo was done, I ended up hiking a volcano that people hike up in the morning, and you try to catch a sunrise at the top, and it's, pretty magical. And it was, but I had a fresh, brand new tattoo. And it was, 2 days of tattooing, and 12 hours later, I'm hiking up this volcano, dripping sweat. I had like a white t-shirt on, and by the time I got to the top, it was like black with volcanic ash. And like when you pull it on your chest, it was like just stuck to the blood and plasma. It was still oozing from the tattoo. And right after I hiked it, it was like, man, I got to get to the airport and fly back to the US. So I stopped in a local town called Ubud, which means medicine in Bali. Yep. Grabbed it's a magical place, known for healing and wonderful things. And I got some aloe veras. I got a bunch of different lotions and creams and anything I could think of that would, be my own makeshift, keep this from getting infected, and let's not let your chest fall off on the ride home. And it worked. I mean, I did not get an infection. I kept it clean and so on and so forth. But when I got back, I came back to the office, and I literally said to a couple of my top people, I'm like, that's it. We're going to start with the tattoo line of tattoo products, because there was nothing out there at the time that I believed in or thought was made by real tattoo people. There's a lot of stuff by marketing companies, and you have people like Shark Tank stuff and whatever. I'm not knocking it, but those aren't real tattoo people, in my opinion. I wanted to develop a tattoo brand out of the gate, and line of products by tattoo people, for tattoo people, someone who'd worked with artists around the world for 20, 25 years. And literally, I mean, probably a couple of weeks after we started selling our tattoo product, and that was the very first thing that we had up for Derm Dude, I was just so hooked on the concept, the ideas. I've been so much fun with it. And we were just able to do what we wanted without committees, without politics, without 17 different rounds of meetings of people from the client side, from the talent side, from the agent side. And there's just, I'm not knocking it. Businesses have a process for a reason. But after 15, 20 years of all that in Hollywood, I had my time. I made a couple of dollars. I learned a lot. And I was like, man, I'm so done with that. I want to do the opposite in building this brand of what typically goes into most, marketing brands out there. I didn't want a marketing brand. I wanted my own brand. I wanted, what type of brand would I respond to? How would I message this, and I would say to people, like, if you're going to say we can't do something, back it up with a why. Either it's not legal or this will happen or that, but don't just say, oh, we can't do that. And I remember one of the first things we did is we came up with a tagline for the brand. And we said, Derm Dude, touching yourself just got better. And a bunch of people said, that's great. That's amazing. People said, you can't say that. And I said, but why can't we? Why?
Now, was it easy out of the gate for you? Because picking on that terminology, and anyone that gets to go over to Derm Dude, I'm telling people you should go over and just check out the way that this is done. DermDude.com. You've got a lot of cheeky, corny. It's funny. It's not rude.
No, we don't do vulgar. We go out of our way to not do vulgar.
You're not blatant. Yes, no. You're definitely on the edge, and it's fun, and it does make you smirk. But was that easy? But when did Derm Dude come out?
We start, we've really been selling like in a marketing mode, spending media and growing the brand probably for barely 8-9 months. We became an official company about 1.5 years ago, developing the products and testing the products. But the reality is I wasn't doing this as I'm going to test 1 or 2 products and see maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. I was making this, I was going, there was no stopping. When we first really started marketing about 8-9 months ago, we already had 35 SKUs formulated, tested, produced, mass, ready, labeled. Nobody does that. I mean, the biggest brands in the world don't start out with 35 SKUs. It's not really smart from a risk management, but I wasn't, for me, it wasn't, okay, here's 5 ideas. Derm Dude's 1. Here's idea 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's see which one. I mean, this was it. And Derm Dude, and, it's funny because we did make tattoo work. And, but at the end of the day, where I sit today, it's certainly not our biggest categories. We have so many categories that are even bigger, but we didn't know that, and we weren't looking at it one at a time. Right after we did tattoo, we went to beard. Right after we started beard, we broke into balls, and no pun intended, but balls was huge for us. I mean, our first TikTok video got 1.5 million views in 24 hours. And it was just me sitting here talking to a friend who was visiting, explaining our products, answering questions like you did. How did you come up with Happy Sack Nut Love Cooling Cream? How did you come up with Balgasmic Sack Wash? Or, and as I was explaining, and that these are real ingredients with quite good formulas that actually cost us a lot of money. I mean, we're not the cheap bottom of the barrel Amazon brands out there where you can, scrape the bottom. Our products are really good. And I was in the industry for 15, 20 years. We worked with top labs, top formulators. We did not skimp on ingredients. We know all the tricks that people do. We're the opposite. We use the highest percentages that can give people the best result that they're going for. Costs us a little more, but our customer satisfaction rate is like 4.9999 out of 5 stars. So, it worked. But yeah, I mean, you talk about cheeky. I mean, I remember you go to our website, and when they were coming out with our body wash, and people just loved the way it smelled, and we had a bunch of different scents. And so I just wrote a line, and I said, put this up on the website, and said, life is full of assholes. Don't smell like one. Use our body wash. And
But that kind of terminology, and I want to kind of confront this. 15 months ago, definitely. Today, definitely. People are scared about what they say. They're scared about being inappropriate. They're scared about, offending people. And again, you haven't been vulgar. There's no rudeness in your website. It's all humorous. But just to say nutsack or arsehole or anything like that, I'm sure there are people out there that are offended by this. Did anyone confront you? Did you get any of that hatred?
No, we've heard next to nothing on it. And my honest belief is that, to your point, We're not vulgar. We never single anyone out for any specific reason. We're self-deprecating. We'll make fun of ourselves and myself, which we do all the time. We're not going to pick out any individual for real and ever try to shame anyone like that. But the reality is, to your point, is I never set out to do anything in life where 100% of everybody was going to be thrilled and happy. The reality is we probably are too sharp and too edgy and maybe a little too provocative, or a lot too provocative or irreverent for a lot of people. And my answer to that is perfectly understandable. Buy someone else's product. It's America. There's no one here holding a gun to your head. The reason I'm comfortable with that approach, and we refer to ourselves, in our press releases and on our website, is that we're a viral, unapologetic men's grooming brand. And I think it's important to say that when I say that we're unapologetic, here's what I mean by that. First of all, we're 100% inclusive. Inclusive meaning that everybody is welcome with our brand. The only people I ever say who aren't welcome are the type of people who say someone else isn't welcome. So everybody is part of our tribe. Everybody is part of the community as far as we're concerned, unless you're a total asshole and you have issues with other people. Then fuck off. We don't want you. And we make that pretty clear too. I've been pretty honest about that. I mean, I try to answer as much of the social media as possible. It was more manageable in the beginning, but I think our team and agencies are happy now that I'm not doing it, because if somebody was hateful or making rude comments about someone's picture or image or something else, I'd be the first one to jump on and say, F you, go away, go somewhere else, and who needs that in this day and age? And the other thing is that when you're sitting there, I said we're self-deprecating. I go on there and we talk about, you don't have to have smelly balls. Use Happy Sack Nut Love. Your balls can be open for business. We say great smelling balls are a win-win. But it's true. It's not just marketing gimmick whatsoever. I believe that you can get someone to stop and listen and take information, which is what I'm really trying to do. I'm trying to create what we've done is a hub, a home base to make guys and women comfortable talking about men's hygiene and men's grooming and destigmatizing it. More than half of the people, our customers who buy our ball line, are women. They're buying it for their dudes. And that's a wonderful thing. And if you look at who's Googling smelly balls online, such a term, it's guys, it's women. There are real issues. And I say all the time, we're not making fun of anyone. I'm 245 pounds, 6'4". I sweat. If I don't use our deodorant, sometimes I apply deodorant twice a day. If I didn't shower in the morning and use our products and then had my girlfriend over at night, trust me, it wouldn't go over well. I mean, I even tell the story where I was honest with everyone. I'm like, we're not saying that you have smelly balls or you have smelly. We're saying any dude that doesn't shower properly, use the right products. We recommend our Sack Wash, charcoal activated ingredients specifically for down there, and our whole line of ball products. But I mean, I shared open, honest examples where I would go in and my girlfriend was over and she'd be like, wait a minute, did you not put on your amazeballs today? And I'm like, oh yeah, baby, you know what? It's been such a long day. I had this morning, I had me, I had Zoom, whatever. Get back in there. And she'll point to the rest. I'm like, so you own the brand. I'm like, we have 35 SKUs. I can't put everything on it. So, but I use that as an example of that. I'm a human. We're all humans. We sweat. Those bacteria will turn to odor. It naturally happens. Our skin will get dry if we don't take care of it. I could not wear a black shirt for years because my beard, first of all, was patchy and would never grow in and look like ass, but I was able to finally grow a full beard. And if I touch my beard now, I won't get white flakes, beard drift all over my black shirt. And we show pictures where I scratch my face and white shit goes all over my shirt. Then I apply our Derm Dude system. I scratch my face and no white shit comes out. And people write in, man, I had that stuff for years. I didn't know it was beard flakes or beard drift or beard dandruff, or whatever. And now they'll use, our Beard Gasmic shampoo and conditioner for their beard. And I'll say, you know why? Because you don't want to use shampoo that you use for your scalp on top of your head. That's made for your scalp. Feel your scalp. Now feel your beard and your skin under your beard on your face. The skin is night and day different. You need different ingredients, different formulas. You need a beard shampoo and conditioner for your beard. And it's like, something as simple as telling people dry your balls entirely before you get dressed in the morning. And the amount of dudes who are like, I can't believe that I've been like going to work with Swamp Sack every morning and then wondering why I'm itching and sting. I'm like, I do it too. I still will be like running late and I'll get in the car. I'm like, I'm a horrible example for this company. I didn't dry my balls well enough this morning. Most of the time I do it. I stop myself. I'm like, am I going to have to confess later today and admit that I screwed up again? But I mean, that's life. And I want people to, I think if you can make people laugh and smile, it's much better than shouting at someone to try to share your message.
No, that is good. If anyone wants to be checking this out, then you've got to get over to Derm Dude, but you've also got to get over to Derm Dude Official, which is the Instagram page of theirs, and there's loads of videos and stuff over there. What is your biggest seller?
I would say, but hands down, our biggest seller. I hope I have it in front of me. Let me see what we got. This is our Happy Sack Nut Love Cooling Cream. Now, this is a special one. You can see it's nice and creamy. So it's first of all, it is cooling. The second after you shower and dry your balls completely, first you would use our Balgasmic sack wash, charcoal activated in the shower. You get out, you dry completely, then you apply our Happy Sack Nut Love Cooling Cream to the obvious area in the name, the sack. It absorbs really fast into the skin. You will feel your sack cooling right away. It has cucumber, it has chamomile, it has a deodorizing natural ingredient, which is patented, has been studied extensively, called Deoplex. It's a natural deodorizer, and all of our different products have a different scent, and we try to make them fun. We have a scent called MVP, which has a very unique manly scent to it, and it stands for most valuable, not player.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Now for the holidays, like this one has been our best seller. This is our Happy Sack Nut Love Cooling Cream, Candy Cane. Now, who wouldn't want their sack to smell like Christmas? Right? So for the holidays, we have our pumpkin pie, we have our gingerbread, we have our candy cane. You can smell like that down there. You can smell like that on your beard. All of our products are visitor friendly. So after you apply, let's say you have some guests over, you're open for business, they can come visit, complete comfort, and they're just going to have a nice, cool, refreshing scent. It helps with jock itch. It helps prevent chafing. It's just good hygiene, guys.
Now, I've got to admit, I've never used your product, but I've got to admit, and you talking about it and the passion and the marketing behind it and the brand and the style, I am going to indulge and I am going to try some of this out. So that's cool as hell. But was there any surprising in what you were doing? Now, you've been very bold. You've been very upfront by saying, hey, we're not here for everyone. That's the first good thing about any marketing. Understand what market you're looking for, but also what market you're not. But was there any surprise where you went, well, we thought this may have been good, but wow, it went well, or we thought this would be a home run and it flopped? Was there any surprises along the way?
I think the biggest unknowns are always when you're doing scents, and we do a lot of different scents in our beard care. We even do some in tattoo, and especially in our ball and beard care. And I think that's one of the ones where, we can go around our office, we can go up to 50 different people and say, what do you, and sometimes you're like, we just cannot get a consensus. I mean, it's like night and day sometimes. So you have to make some judgment calls, especially as a startup. You can't run 3 years of studies and research and what have you. And it's always fascinating to see which scents just by and large blow away the others. We came out with a scent in our body wash that I was like, this is going to kill it. And we called it IPA. IPA beer is very popular.
Yeah.
I just walking around stores and living life, I had noticed some other brands were using IPA. I think we've sold 3 units of that IPA version of a thing, but yet we have other scents in that same product where we've sold 10,000 units in the same short window of time of different scents that have just been, and people can't smell it over the phone. They can't smell it, on through the computer. So something has to do with the naming, something has to do with fitting the product. So that's always interesting. But I think the biggest shocker of the whole journey was on social media. I'd never really been on TikTok. It was like, man, I'm going to try to die someday without ever having to learn another social media platform. I'm the type of person where if I wasn't working in this world, I would not have social media, and I'm not knocking it. I could live without it. So it's almost like the necessary evil for me. It's like God's humorous way of saying, all right, I'm going to give you some success here. We're going to give you some real, good opportunities, but guess what? You got to do social media. And so everyone's TikTok. I'm like, and I have 6-year-old twins. And I saw them playing on their phones, and they were on TikTok, and I was about to reprimand. I'm like, why are you guys on TikTok? Who is like parenting these children? Like, my kids, like, that are on TikTok on some adult's phone. And then I'm watch daddy, you can do this. Watch daddy. Oh, daddy. And they're talking over each other because they're twins. And I'm like, show me how you do that. What do you do? And then, so this is like back in, I think, right around the beginning of the summer, I think. And I came in the next day, and we had a friend here who was just visiting, and I was explaining to him about the products, the same as you, but I wasn't pitching him. I'm not a pitch person. I was saying, here's what's cool, this cooling, and this does this, and this is why I love this. And they were filming. The people here just filmed it with like cell phones and stuff, and they put it up on TikTok, and I didn't even know they're putting that up. And I went to bed that night, and it had like 400,000 or 500,000 views. Now, I think at the time we had like 300 TikTok followers, or I don't know, 5. I don't know. I got up the next morning, within 24 hours, that video of me talking about the ball product developing had about 1.5 million views in 24 hours. And today it's like almost at 6 million. And for the most part, it's mostly almost all organic. And that blew it away. And again, if you had said to me, of the 3 products in the ball line, the Ballgasmic, the Amaze Balls, and the Happy Sack Nut Love, even then, which was going to have the biggest impact, I would have bet last on the cream. I would have bet that the spray, because you just don't have to put your hands in anything. It's just, you open it up, you spray your junk, and, like, ooh, candy cane again. Yeah, I mean, but it always surprises me. I'm like, that's kind of cool, man.
Yeah, I was looking at your TikTok. Your TikTok's got 107,000 followers, and they look, again, like great videos, and they've got some great stuff on there. So again, as any good brand will be, you're the same on on different platforms. Derm Dude Official over on TikTok as well. So that's pretty damn cool there.
But what's cool about that, Steve, is we don't have a TikTok person. I mean, I joke, and we have someone who's like, I think 23. How old are you? She turns 23, and she has green and purple hair. And I'm like, you'll do. Like, I mean, you must know how to do social media. Like, when I hire her, and she hadn't done social media. So I call her a youngster, and we figure this stuff out. And it's like, I have hired and tried to spend money on social media professionals and TikTok gurus and all these people who they reach out, or you reach out, and you're going to do this. And yet some of these people who are like reaching out to us to try to sell us their services, a week later would forget they reached out, and then are like following up with us like, hey man, do you want to share any tips on what you're doing on TikTok or social? I'm like, yeah, you're the guys who are trying to sell us on your. So I think that, one of the things that you can't fake is authenticity, being real. One of the tattoos on my finger I've had for a while says "lower the bar." And it's halfway true. I mean, we're not trying to be anything that we're not. Our videos are real. We say it real. It's for real people. And like I said, we avoid being vulgar. We avoid singling people out. And, we want to rise people up. And it's a tribe. It's a community. And we're having a blast with it.
Now, you released a book.
That's right.
First question before we even go over the book is why? You're obviously busy. You've got your agency. You've got Derm Dude. You've got enough on your plate. Why the book?
I had an interesting life long before any of these things. And I think I would say that based on what other people have said to me. Just kind of being a fly on the wall for so long, hearing people explain to others parts of my own life, and then being like, wait, that's my life. They're telling that story. And for a lot of years, I was asked to do it, thought about doing it. I didn't really have a purpose. I didn't have a point. And I also didn't want to share certain things about my life that were just too personal and private. And in some cases, very hurtful, but I knew that if I did it, I had to be 100% honest. And I wasn't sure that I could do that. I wasn't sure if there were things I was willing to put out there and talk about, but I didn't want to do a book of, here's me, I made millions, I did this, I won all these awards, I've had this life, this career. All of that's true, but I've also lost it and gotten it back, and lost it and gotten it back. And and I've definitely been in some great peaks, but man, I've had my share of time in the valleys, and I simply believe that it's my time in the valleys and the perspective I was able to gain there that gets me back to the peaks and keeps me there until my ass gets kicked back to the valleys again. But I think that's the cycle of life for everyone, at least people who are honest. And I didn't want to do another look at me, life's amazing, great. If you just read this book tomorrow, all your dreams will come true. I mean, first of all, that's horseshit. Second of all, there's more than enough people out there trying to sell you on that snake oil. I wanted to be real. I wanted to be open about it, about how a kid from New Jersey ended up in Hollywood, some crazy stops along the way, directing celebrities and athletes, and then starting his own brand. But along the way, I was on death row twice. About 4 years ago, I was on the border of Kenya, Sudan, and Ethiopia, negotiating with tribal elders who have the practice of murdering innocent babies. And we were like out in the middle of nowhere, like Nat Geo area, where it's like all tribal people walking around with, AK-47s and machetes, where, people get abducted and killed. So, I've had a lot of interesting, weird life, unusual experiences outside of even the work profession. And collectively, it made for a roller coaster. And I thought that with Derm Dude launching and my constant sense, to try to figure myself out. I mean, I talk about 3 of my 4 kids have had near-death medical challenges in their life. I've lost a very close relative to suicide, which is, I don't know if that's something that you ever come to terms with. And that was something I never shared with anyone, and I held that in for a very long time. So I wanted to be open about topics like that and try to help destigmatize mental health. And most of my life story is written down in tattoos. My tattoos are very enigmatic. They tell a detailed story for me. They're my own roadmap. And, it was interesting, but writing the book and calling it Under My Skin was the very first title we came up with, and we never changed it. It's not that we weren't open, it just fit. And towards the end of doing, it was supposed to take 3 months, took me 13 months because it was so emotional. One page I'm reading back and I'm laughing my ass off at my own life. Like, holy shit, did I really do that? Like that. And then 2 pages later, I'm just, I'm out of it for like a week. I'm like, man, that was tragic. That was deep. That was, and how do you share that and speak about that? And, you're coming to terms with it on the pages. So, I remember just writing at the end of the book, that ultimately trying to figure out what was under my skin all this time, the closest I've come to really getting any sense of it was by looking down at seeing what's on top of my skin. And that's really been my guide to what's under. So, I mean, hey, if it was therapeutic, then it's cheaper than any LA therapist. So
I've got to read on Derm Dude's website, the tiny little bio or hook or whatever you want to call it for the book Under My Skin. The piss in your pants, funny yet deeply moving true story of one man's journey to becoming the Derm Dude, one tattoo at a time. That is just cute. So apart from Derm Dude being able to grab the book, can they grab it on Amazon?
They can. There's about 4 or 5 different titles of the same name. I didn't realize this when you're starting a book, that titles of books and songs, I guess, are not protectable. So the good news is I wouldn't have been able to call it Under My Skin if it was, because there's a bunch of others. So if you go to Amazon, you'll want to do Under My Skin and then, Drew or Drew Plotkin, and you'll see like a totally naked dude on the front and back who just has his ass and his junk covered with endorsements. Otherwise, it's just me and so it's pretty easy to see. And if you go on our website, and you can easily order it there as well. And if you do it on our website, I'm happy to sign it for you. A good friend of ours who endorsed it, Clint Emerson, he was a Navy SEAL Team 6. He had a quote that said, "Under my skin is a badass read." So we put that over my ass just to block that. So I thought that was very nice of him to endorse us that way. So he's a great guy. I've done some tattoos with him as well.
Drew, thank you very much for being part of this show. Now, we've mentioned a bunch of places where they can find you all around the Derm Dude. Is there anywhere else that we haven't mentioned that they can follow you?
No, hopefully no prison websites anytime soon. So as long as it's dermdude.com, that's your starting point to find us everywhere. Everything's on there. It's a great hub.
All right, then for anyone reading this, watching this on the Steve D. Sims website, I'm going to put all the links at the bottom of this. But Drew, thank you very much for spending time with us, and congratulations on the smelly balls. Look forward to your success. And as I say personally, and I'm saying this out loud, I'm going to grab some of this and try it out. Thanks, Drew.
All right, my man. You got it.
Hey, I hope you liked that episode of the Art of Making Things Happen podcast. And remember, these are done for you. If you like them, subscribe, share them around. But if you don't like them, send me an email to ask@steveDsims.com, and you can tell me what I need to do to make this the most dynamic podcast you listen to. Anyway, make sure whatever you learned from the last podcast, you actually do something with. Without action, it's just a bunch of people blowing air. Have a good time. Until next time. Bye.